Sorcerer's Stone is directed by Chris Columbus and nominated for 3 Academy Awards. Alan Rickman was hand-selected by J.K. Rowling to play the role of Snape and Robbie Coltrane to play Hagrid. Under a secrecy spell, Rowling even entrusted Rickman with vital information about Snape's backstory that would not be revealed until the release of the final novel. The scene from the restricted section of the library was filmed in the Bodleian Library in Oxford. The library's strict policy against open flames within the building was broken for the first time for this film. In the scenes where the kids are doing homework, they had the child actors working on their actual schoolwork to make the school setting seem more real. Set designer Stephanie McMillan sought out the ugliest furnishings possible to make the Dursleys' home more unpleasant. After selecting Daniel Radcliffe as Harry, producers attempted to fit him with green-tinted contact lenses to match the character. After his eyes reacted strongly to the contacts, they had to drop the detail. J.K. Rowling was considered for the role of Lily Potter in the Mirror of Erised scene, but turned it down. Tom Felton had not read any of the books prior to auditioning for the film. Classic Malfoy, am I right? 3 different snowy owls played the role of Hedwig, Gizmo, Ook, and Sprout. The movie is known as the Philosopher's Stone in every market except for the USA to remain in keeping with book titles. Rosie O'Donnell and Robin Williams both offered to play a role in the film without pay. Neither ended up doing any scenes for the movie. In the film script, producers asked J.K. Rowling to write the flashback scenes to Voldemort killing Harry's parents because she was the only one that actually knew what happened. Hagrid is 8.5 feet tall. Director Chris Columbus's daughter, Eleanor, played Susan Bones. The film was released on November 16, 2001. By February 2002, it was the second highest grossing film worldwide, behind Titanic. Peeves the Poltergeist does not appear in the movie nor any deleted scenes. His actor, Rick Mayall, was not aware he had been cut until after he saw the movie himself. David Thewlis, who goes on in a later film to play Lupin, auditioned for the role of Professor Quirrell. The wizard chess set that Harry and Ron play with is based on the famous Lewis Chessman, a 12th century chess set found in 1831 in Scotland. Liam Aiken was originally given the role of Harry, but was later revoked because he wasn't British. Yikes. Warwick Davis, who plays Professor Flitwick, also plays a Gringotts goblin and provides the voice for Griphook. Due to concern for actors aging out of their characters' ranges too quickly, Warner Brothers, who are looking at Steven Spielberg as director, originally considered making the entire Harry Potter series in the form of animated films and combining multiple books per movie. The Chamber of Secrets was directed by Chris Columbus, is only one of 2 Harry Potter films to not be nominated for an Academy Award. Despite being the second shortest book, The Chamber of Secrets was the longest Harry Potter film. Filming began 3 days after the release of The Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone as apparently all of you know it as. In Borgin and Burkes, you can spot the opal necklace that will later make an appearance in The Half-Blood Prince. To create the scene where Harry and Ron crash into the Whomping Willow, the crew destroyed 14 Ford Anglias. The Ford Anglia was selected by J.K. Rowling because it was the model of car she and one of her close friends drove as a teenager. The actor who played Lucius Malfoy came up with the idea for the character to have long blonde hair and walk with his wand concealed in a walking stick. Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore, passed away just a few weeks before the film's release. Despite his diminishing health, Harris insisted on producers not recasting him and desired to continue playing the character. Dumbledore's office was the most expensive set created in the Harry Potter franchise at that time. Special funds had to be sought out to make it happen. Hugh Grant was originally cast as Gilderoy Lockhart, but had to back out last minute due to scheduling conflicts. Shirley Henderson, who plays Moaning Myrtle, is the oldest actor to play a student at 37. Instead of acting petrified, full-size models of the students were actually created to maintain rigidity. The line, "I didn't know you could read," from Malfoy to Goyle was an improvisation from Tom Felton, who had forgotten his line. Classic Malfoy, am I right? Daniel Radcliffe was originally offered 125,000 euros for the second film. An actors union stepped in and renegotiated his terms to 2 million euros. After the film's release, articles came out that Russian President Vladimir Putin was offended that Dobby was created in his image. Whether or not this is true, it's kinda true. Cinematographer Roger Pratt was instructed by Chris Columbus to bring a darker look to the film to reflect the story. This trend pushed forward for each future film. You can spot a few hardcover copies of the Harry Potter books behind Lockhart in Flourish and Blots. During the shoot, Dobby was played by a ball on a stick and then added digitally later. The Chamber of Secrets is reportedly Daniel Radcliffe's favorite Harry Potter book. Ron's actor, Rupert Grint, actually has a severe case of arachnophobia. The 2002 Scooby-Doo film got unusual traffic from Potter fans who went to see the release of the trailer for the Chamber of Secrets. The Prisoner of Azkaban brings in a new series director, Alfonso Cuarón. The change in direction came despite Chris Columbus being signed on for the whole franchise because he felt he was missing his children growing up. In hopes of getting to know the film's three key stars better, Cuarón assigned Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint an essay about their characters. Almost spot-on character personalities, Watson turned in a 16-page essay, Radcliffe turned in a 1-page summary, Grint never turned his in. If you notice, Harry, Ron, and Hermione start primarily wearing street clothes instead of their robes. This was an idea by Cuarón to better demonstrate each of their personalities. Ian McKellen declined the role of Dumbledore after playing Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings series. McKellen stated, "I have enough trouble living up to one legend, two would be too much to hope for." In true serious black fashion, actor Gary Oldman presented Daniel Radcliffe with a gift upon meeting him, a bass guitar. To make the night bus appear to be driving so much faster than the other cars, they filmed the scene with the bus driving at a normal speed and the cars cruising at a snail's pace. In post, it was sped up dramatically. Harry Melling, who plays Dudley, lost so much weight that he was nearly recast. They ended up using a fat suit to make it work. Sirius Black's tattoos were selected from Russian prison gangs and in their true context means someone to be feared and respected. The train that plays the Hogwarts Express was vandalized during filming, slowing down production. The child actors were told the inventory in Honeydukes was fake to prevent kids from snagging the candy between takes. The symbols under Sirius Black's wanted poster translate to more or less human. Warner Brothers equipped theater ushers with night vision goggles for the release of the film to help ward off video piracy. The Prisoner of Azkaban is the final Harry Potter film to be released on VHS. The room that Harry learns the Patronus charm in is actually Dumbledore's office with all of the decor swapped out. It returns as Dumbledore's office in all subsequent films. 2 Persian red cats were used to play Crookshanks, Cracker Jack, and Pumpkin. The effects team desperately tried to use puppets for the Dementors, spending over 6 months trying to make it a reality. In the end, they decided CGI was the only way to make it work. The Netherlands created a whole new category for rating the movie at 9, believing that the film was too graphic for 6-year-olds, but would cut out too much of the target demographic to rate it at 12. The character that Harry is competing to capture the snitch against is, in canon, Cedric Diggory. He is later recast for the Goblet of Fire. The Goblet of Fire brings yet another new director into the franchise with Mike Newell, who is the first British director to tackle the series. Alfonso Cuarón, who just finished directing The Prisoner of Azkaban, declined the job because he wanted to be heavily involved in the production side of the film. Originally, The Goblet of Fire was considered to come out as 2 separate films a few months apart to accommodate the extremely long book. It was Newell that pushed to drop subplots and produce it all in a single film. During the first take of Hermione's Cinderella moment, Emma Watson tripped and fell down the stairs. For the second task, a 132,000-gallon tank backed with a green screen was built for the underwater scenes. Daniel Radcliffe logged over 40 hours underwater to produce these scenes. Full-size models of the students were used for Ron, Hermione, Cho, and Gabrielle Delacour in the lake scene. At least one of the dragons was actually built on set using remnants from the basilisk puppet used in the Chamber of Secrets. Floor's actress, Clemence Poisey, does not actually have a French accent despite being a French actress and had to lay it on thick for the role. Victor Crumb only says 20 words throughout the entire movie. In the books, the Patel twins are placed in different houses, Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. In the film, they are both Gryffindors and not actually played by twins. Dobby's role is amongst those subplots that were cut from the film. However, at the Quidditch World Cup, you can very briefly spot Dobby and Winky. Dumbledore's library is actually made up of phone books that are disguised. You can spot the symbol for the Deathly Hallows shortly before Dumbledore shows Harry the Pensieve. We can also briefly spot Dumbledore with the Elder Wand. Ron's older brother Percy is absent from the Goblet of Fire. This was due to his actor, Chris Rankin's contract, requiring him for the first 3 films and then either the Goblet of Fire or the Order of the Phoenix. Moody's line in the movie, "I know stories that would curl even your greasy hair," is actually a line from the book. However, it is said by Rita Skeeter. The Goblet of Fire is the only movie to not feature Julie Walters or Miss Weasley. When entering the maze, we see Mad Eye gesture to Harry to go left. It is widely believed that if one keeps taking left turns in a maze, they will eventually find their way out. The film's reels were sent out to theaters marked by the code name Happy Days to ward off piracy. The Goblet of Fire is the first of the Harry Potter films to receive the PG-13 rating. Before heading into the maze, the girls from Bow Bottoms are dancing the Macarena. The band from the Yule Ball, that shall remain nameless but is quite weird, is comprised mostly of members of the bands Pulp and Radiohead. Nigel is a character not found in the books but assumed to play the role of Colin Creevey. Over 3,000 girls showed up to audition for the role of Cho Chang. For the Yule Ball, students rehearsed for 3 weeks to properly perform the waltz. Radcliffe, who is in nearly every scene, only had 3 days to rehearse, which led to most shots including him to be from the waist up due to his poor footwork. The fifth Harry Potter film brings the fourth director to the series with David Yates. For the Black family tree, J.K. Rowling provided over 70 names, how they were related to one another, and which of the family members would have been scorched. Ivana Lynch beat out 15,000 girls competing for the role of Luna Lovegood. In the Great Hall, we can spot a box of cereal called Cheery Owls. Because such elaborate wand duels are not typically choreographed, producers brought in professional dance choreographer Paul Harris. Duelers then had roughly 5 wand motions that would represent the personality of the dueler. Sirius Black, for example, was snappy and spontaneous, almost street fight style. Helen McCrory was originally cast as Bellatrix Lestrange, but had to drop out due to pregnancy. She is later cast as Narcissa Malfoy, Bellatrix's sister. Luna's radish earrings were actually made by her actor, Ivana Lynch. Imelda Stanton was the producer's only choice to play Professor Umbridge. Umbridge's outfit throughout the film becomes increasingly more saturated and padded. When the Order shows up at the Dursleys for Harry, Moody says they are there rescuing you, of course, the same line Ron said to Harry after picking him up from the Dursleys in the flying car. In the novel, Umbridge issues at least 25 decrees. In the film, she issues well over 100. In original outlines for the novel, J.K. Rowling admits she strongly considered having Arthur Weasley actually die, but simply couldn't go through with it. Despite being the longest Harry Potter book, The Order of the Phoenix is the second shortest film. During the scene in the Ministry, Matthew Lewis, who plays Neville, suffered a perforated eardrum after Bellatrix's wand was inadvertently shoved into his ear. Sirius, in dog form, was played by a Scottish deerhound named Cloud. The Department of Mysteries was the first fully computer-generated set, as nearly 150,000 crystal balls would have been needed and potentially broken between takes. The Order of the Phoenix is one of 2 Harry Potter films to not be nominated for some kind of Academy Award, alongside The Chamber of Secrets. Like many of the other Harry Potter preview releases, the film Happy Feet got loads of traffic from Potter fans looking to see the first glimpse of the latest segment in the series. Many fans were upset about the scene where Harry spots Voldemort at the train station because he is wearing a Muggle suit, something Voldemort would never do. Emma Watson's contract with Warner Brothers expired after The Order of the Phoenix. She has stated that she very seriously considered quitting the franchise, but decided against it because it would be too hard to see someone else play Hermione. The Half-Blood Prince is directed by the same director as The Order of the Phoenix, David Yates. They finally got someone to stay. That being said, Terry Gilliam, who had been J.K. Rowling's first choice to direct a Harry Potter series, was approached and declined the director position. Young Tom Riddle is played by Hero Fiennes Tiffin, nephew of Ralph Fiennes, who plays Lord Voldemort. Christian Coulson, who played Tom Riddle in The Chamber of Secrets, expressed interest in coming back for the role. However, David Yates felt he would be too old to play young Tom Riddle again at nearly age 30. Maggie Smith, who plays McGonagall, was undergoing treatment for breast cancer during filming for The Half-Blood Prince. Quidditch returns in this film, featuring a full match for the first time since The Chamber of Secrets. 7,000 girls auditioned for the role of Lavender Brown. Despite the huge turnout, the part was given to Jessie Cave upon Emma Watson's recommendation. The Half-Blood Prince is the only Harry Potter film to be nominated for the Best Cinematography Academy Award. The scene where Dumbledore creates the Ring of Fire took nearly 8 months of computer graphics work to nail down. Timothy Spall is credited for his role as Wormtail, despite not actually having a speaking role in the film. The same set is used for the trophy room, Slughorn's office, and the Room of Requirement. Daniel Radcliffe has said that this film is his least favorite own performance of the series. Robert Knox, who played Marcus Belby, one of Slughorn's dinner guests, was tragically stabbed to death shortly after filming Wrapped. Warner Brothers received death threats after postponing the release of the film from November 2008 to July 2009. The code name for the movie reels upon being sent to movie theaters was Candlelit. If you type the Half-Blood Prince into Harry Potter Wiki, it suggests Severus Snape. When Malfoy is in the Room of Requirement, you can spot the harp that was used to put Fluffy to sleep in the first film. During script development for the film, writers planned to have Harry take possession of Dumbledore's wand after his death. The final book was released showing the conflict, and the scene had to be changed. The news that Dumbledore is in fact gay came after J.K. Rowling was reviewing the script for the film and came across a line where Dumbledore references a girl he once had a crush on. The 2 final Potter films are both directed by David Yates. While longer books were made into a single film, producers felt very few details from the final installment could be cut and it needed to be spread across 2 releases. And despite coming out as 2 separate films, they were shot at the same time, with the final scene of production for the entire series actually coming from part 1. The scene with 7 Harrys was so complex that it took Daniel Radcliffe over 90 takes to get it right. Ivana Lynch, who plays Luna, came up with a dance that was intended to look like she was wafting rack spurts away. John Hurt, who plays Ollivander, returns after 9 years since his last role in the series. The Deathly Hallows is the first of the series to actually have J.K. Rowling on as a producer. The set used for Godric's Hollow was the same set that was used for Hogsmeade. Daniel Radcliffe reportedly broke 80 wands throughout the filming of the series. Part 1 of the finale is the only film to not feature Maggie Smith as McGonagall. The diner that Harry, Ron, and Hermione apparate into features a poster from Daniel Radcliffe's play, Equus. 40 versions of Slytherin's Locket were made for the scene where Harry and Ron are trying to destroy it. Malfoy Manor is the famous Hardwick Hall with a few modifications. Bill Weasley is played by Donald Gleason, who is son of Mad Eye's actor Brendan Gleeson. Scenes featuring Victor Crumb at Bill's wedding were shot but did not make the final cut. The scene where Bellatrix carves mudblood into Hermione's arm was thought up on the spot by Emma Watson and Helena Bonham Carter. Part 1, with the exception of the Black Lake when Voldemort is stealing the Elder Wand, does not actually have any scenes set at Hogwarts. By the end of the series, Harry's lightning bolt scar had been applied over 5,000 times. In every shot involving Bellatrix and Voldemort, she moves to stand by his right side, which is considered to be the position of the most loyal and trusted follower. The scene featuring the Room of Requirement was filled entirely with props from previous films. The scene where Voldemort hugs Draco was an improvisation on the spot by Ray Fiennes. Felton's reaction of not knowing what to do is genuine. The theater release of the film set the record at the time for the highest grossing opening weekend ever, beating out The Dark Knight. 6 out of the 8 films were nominated for Academy Awards for a total of 12 nominations. The series famously went winless despite 3 nods for the final film. According to J.K. Rowling, one character that was guaranteed to survive the entire series was Hagrid, because very early on she had the vision of Hagrid finally carrying a deceased Harry into Hogwarts. After revealing he is still alive, a scene where Draco throws Harry his wand was filmed but not actually used in the final edit. As each of the Horcruxes was destroyed, Voldemort gained small lesions on his skin and his eyes appear to be darker and more sunken in. Other than Harry killing Voldemort, the only good character seen killing a Death Eater is Molly Weasley defeating Bellatrix. Dobby's last words are Harry Potter, which were also the first words he spoke in the series. If you were to watch all of the films in the series back to back, it would take 18 hours and 20 minutes, and I would highly recommend it.